Hello guys, welcome back to our channel Discussing Football. So today I'm again joined by DF Swap and we will be reviewing the PL Matchday 1. So the first match was City versus Burnley. City winning it of course very comfortably 3-0, Haaland getting a brace. But the big point I feel Swap is the injury to Kevin De Bruyne. Uh,
Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne is at the end of the day the heart of the City midfield.
yeah,
And Kovacic is there, but Kovacic can't actually fill that like the taking six.
Kovacic can't play like he's not such a creative player like how Kevin De Bruyne is. Kovacic is more of a dribbler. But creativity is not really like
And
like
also, I think they will miss bits of Gundogan this season too.
yeah, Gundogan they will miss and Kevin De Bruyne as well and Riyad Mahrez gone as well. So they are in for Jeremy Doku. They have already spent about 85 millions on Josko Guardiol, and now
And
they are
also, they are Paqueta, Lucas
yeah
Paqueta.
Lucas Paqueta. And I think will they go for Paqueta now? That's a big question because will you go for a Cam or would you go for like someone like a Kevin De Bruyne? I don't think that Paqueta is a player like Kevin De Bruyne, and they like I think they wanted Paqueta to fill that Gundogan role because Bernardo Silva is not like he has been playing in that CM position for the last few months under Pep, but he's not a natural CM. He's more of a winger. But although he's really good as a CM, so I think they went for Paqueta. They had 75 million, 80 million bid rejected, but now it's a
The
question
new
because
bid is something like 85, I guess.
yeah, West Ham have made it clear that they won't accept anything less than 100 million. So 100 million for Paqueta with just 16 days left in the window, and now you're chasing Jeremy Doku as well. So that takes up
Yeah,
almost 6 to 7 days of negotiation, and then you need someone like a Kevin De Bruyne as replacement, and it's tough because you know if Kevin De Bruyne is not playing, then it's going to be tough for Haaland because Haaland feeds on Kevin De Bruyne's crosses and assists. So it's going to be really tough for City, I feel this year.
and this year it's hard for City, but Premier League is all about City. At the end
But
of the
the
day, see them.
players is, as well, if you see, City have the best striker in the league.
Yeah,
Haaland, City have the best midfield in had the best midfield in the league last year. Gundogan, KDB, and Rodri, and the wings as well. Mahrez, Grealish, they are like too good.
yeah.
So that's why they were winning because they have a very good team. But this year, that things could change. Even last year, if the Arsenal should have won, but the league, the Premier League, but somehow they bottled it. They were 5 points clear with just 7 or 8 games to go, and you can't bottle a league from that kind of situation. I think if someone in Liverpool, United, Chelsea would have been there, I don't think that they would have bottled it like how the way Arsenal bottled it. So
So
it's a
moving on to
major
the
concern
next match.
for
Moving
City.
on to the next. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a major concern for City in that midfield area.
Yeah,
Like,
it's definitely a major concern because KDB has been the one providing to Haaland like 90% of the time,
exactly.
and it's by far if there is any player contributing more than Haaland in the score sheet, it's Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
So I
Uh,
think that would be a major concern for City. But at the end of the day, it's Pep. You don't know what tactic you have
he needs
up in his
players,
sleeve.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't say bad about Pep. Of course, Pep is a genius, but you spend 1 billion to win a Champions League. So he has players at his disposal. At this moment, he doesn't have the players. Gundogan, KDB, both have gone. Even Riyad Mahrez have gone. So three of your starting 11 players have gone. So and you know players like Haaland or someone, I don't think that they can play as like a solo thing. So maybe Julian Alvarez might come in. Kovacic might be playing in that CM role. So City usually go with a 4-3-3 kind of a narrative. So
yeah,
it may be Kovacic, Bernardo, and Rodri now moving onward. But I don't think that that's going to benefit City too much. But you never know. Of course, they've got Erling Haaland up front.
yeah. So next match, Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 1, where Bukayo Saka and Nketiah put their name up in the score sheet.
But the biggest, I think, again, another big concern for Arsenal is the injury to Hurricane Timber. And
Yeah.
I heard a report that the initial scans have shown that it's an ACL tear. So that's almost Timber out until January. a minimum 4 to 5 months. It's a minimum time to recover from the ACL. It may be even more, but not less, surely.
Yeah, definitely. See, Arsenal this year they had a lot of potential. They could have done lots of things, but this injury might have like been be a huge concern to their like the aim which they had this season.
Exactly. I mean, if you see against Forest as well, Arsenal couldn't defeat them convincingly. Forest had really, really good chances. A few chances they got
And also
Avoni
they
and
put one in Ivoni.
yeah, he put one. And even at the first half, two or three chances, the Forest, they weren't like up to the mark, of course, with the finishing Forest. But if they would have been more clinical up front, then it could have been a draw easily. So
Yeah.
again, a very big concern. And even Declan Rice, I mean, he wasn't really good yesterday.
See,
Defensively.
and another thing I would like to say is Arsenal having Ramsdale is a huge the huge advantage to this squad because after Timber gone, we can see that waves of attack which came from Nottingham. It's like if there was any other goalkeeper other than Ramsdale in the net, it surely they could have lost that game because
But
the attacks done by Nottingham were like so convincing.
yeah, but I don't think that Ramsdale will continue playing, especially after David Raya comes in. I mean, the next week or then week after, David Raya will eventually take over Ramsdale. That's why they have signed him on loan, and they have an obligation to buy him. So
Yeah,
Arteta will check him out. And if what I was thinking was the Declan Rice. Now that Timber is gone, the centre backs will be probably William Saliba and Gabriel. But
mm,
Declan Rice now the importance of his role increases because
yeah,
can he hasn't been good in the preseason, and even
mm,
against Forest he wasn't really that good. So you need to think that he's the second highest paid player in the British history. Of course, he was the highest. Now that Moises Caicedo has gone to Chelsea, so now he's the second highest. And Arsenal would want performances from him because they spent around 60 million for Timber. Timber got injured. Now they have
yeah,
spent 105 million for Declan Rice. They have spent 65 million for Kai Havertz. So they would want performance from their new signings because they are expensive signings. And of course, every team wants performances from their expensive players.
yeah, they do.
So I guess, yeah, I mean, they are also a team that's a major concern. I mean, the two titles favorites, Kevin De Bruyne and Hurricane Timber's injury have literally like it has caused a concern to them. And I mean, the title this year is wide open, I feel.
Yeah.
Uh, so moving on to the next match after that, it was Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Did you watch the game, Sahab?
So I didn't watch the game because I didn't have the chance. I didn't have the time. But
I
I
mean,
watched the highlights and
I watched the game and Newcastle just completely rattled through Villa's defense. Villa was so poor. Tyrone Mings getting injured in the around the 40th minute mark or so, and that completely
it's
just
31st minute.
yeah, and it completely destroyed Villa. I mean, they were so poor defensively, and Newcastle's counters coming in and scoring goals. At the end, I think in the last 10, 15 minutes, they scored some two or three goals, and Martinez looked frustrated. I would say he looked so frustrated. If you see, like,
See, the thing is like, in my opinion, Newcastle has one of the best squad in the whole Premier League.
yeah,
And
but
especially given to the wonderful form Alexander Isak is right now.
yeah,
And if
see
he
the
tries, if he continues that form, if the whole squad continues to perform that well, seeing them win the title won't be a surprise, I would say.
see the problem with Newcastle is that I would say that they haven't like people don't consider them good enough because they haven't got any big name.
True.
And Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes has a really good midfield as well. They have. And now talking about the Villa part, okay. Injury to Tyrone Mings meant that Pau Torres came in. And Villa spent a good amount of fee on Pau Torres to
Yep.
sign him from Villarreal. But he couldn't fulfill that gap of. I have seen Villa's defense, they heavily depend on Tyrone Mings. Konsa was really poor that day. He was like giving away chances. One or two times Martinez saved them. And even in the preseason, I've seen Villa that they weren't
The
really.
thing is, doesn't matter how good a goalkeeper is, you need a good defense. Because
Yeah,
you can't expect a goalkeeper to save everything.
yeah, of course. And defense is main part for a goalkeeper.
See, as a United fan, I would again like to quote what Alex Ferguson said: "Attack wins you games, but defense wins you titles."
See, I don't completely agree with that. Okay. The reason is Chelsea had the second best defense last year, but still we ended up finishing 12th. Attack wins you games, defense wins you titles
And
when
and
there is a balance between the.
to counter this argument, I would say the season of 2021-22 of Manchester United, where we nearly scored in every match, but because of a bad defense, we couldn't do significant things.
Exactly. I mean, if you see now, someone like a Graham Potter would say, "Attack, the defense wins you games, attack wins you titles." That was said by Sir Alex Ferguson when he had Rooney, Ronaldo in attack. Okay,
Yeah,
so he had the full attack. So I've said that a balance between the attack and defense is key,
yeah,
because if like if one department like it doesn't play well, then you're bound to lose the game. And that's what happened with Chelsea last year. Like the attack was completely off,
yeah.
and we couldn't win the any games, nor even Europe. So that's a different story. But coming up to the next few games, like Crystal Palace defeating Sheffield United 1-0, Brighton completely rattled through Luton Town 4-1.
So, what have you watched this match?
No, I don't watch
So,
Brighton games anymore.
Luton Town's debut in the Premier League has been a very bitter one,
Yeah, of course.
given to the wonderful football played by Brighton. Because I did watch that match, and I think it was one of the best football Brighton ever played.
Brighton have a good team, and they have players who are getting sold to Chelsea next season for 100 million. Good.
So,
So that's good. Uh,
see, it's not like that. I have a huge I think couple of players, like 3 or 4 players from uh, Brighton, have a huge potential. One is Estupion.
yeah, he's good.
We have Joao Pedro,
Yeah,
Kauro Mitoma.
yeah. Then Ferguson is there.
Yeah, these players are like great.
Yeah, of course they are. And
And
Brighton
their
scouting
attack
is
is
really
also
good.
not and their attack is also not that bad. You see, you've got Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, I
He's
mean
not
that guy still
bad.
scores. I don't believe that he still scores.
The guy still scores.
Yeah, exactly. He still scores. How I don't know, but he still does. Every game I have seen him score. I mean, he's one of the best striker. He's like a definition of poacher in the modern day football. He won't
Yes.
be there, but he will come out and score.
Yeah.
And then there was the game of Bournemouth against West Ham, where I watched the game for a few, where Bowen got a goal at the very beginning of the second half, and then Solanke put a late equalizer around the 85th minute mark.
Yeah.
So, Saf, coming to the Everton Fulham game, did you watch it?
Everton Fulham. No, I didn't.
If you just look at the game, Sean Dyche actually coached a 4-1 win. Everton's attack was completely shit. Like they should have scored goals, but the way they have missed, I mean, Fulham were really lucky that they didn't concede. The defense wasn't really good.
And also,
Palmina,
you see, their goalkeeper is also a huge factor in this case. Lena saved wonderful shots.
yeah, and I mean, you can't really miss so many chances. If what Everton did that day, you can't. Literally, you can't. You have to score. Sean
Yeah,
Dyche was excellent with his tactics, but
like
eventually
imagine you're going to a match with 19 shots when 9 is on target, and you haven't put one inside the net.
exactly, and their shots weren't even in target. That was the thing. They missed sitters. Like they put the sitters out for goal kick. I would just say that Everton that they had 19 shots and 9 on target compared to Fulham who had 9 shots with just 2 on target. And you end up losing to them. So it's a disgraceful like a result to Sean Dyche, I would
Really a
say.
disgrace.
Yeah.
So next match we have Brentford and Spurs.
2-2, almost Brentford. At the end, Spurs were really good. A few like lucky escapes from Brentford, and one player who really impressed for Tottenham, and I've seen him impress almost every game. It is Yves Bissouma. He was excellent for Tottenham in the midfield.
And also a
But
couple of assists for James Madison.
Madison is one of the most underrated bowlers. I mean,
Yeah,
like I can't believe that Spurs signed him for such a low fee. If like Leicester would have been in the Premier League, they wouldn't have first of all sold him. And even if they
yeah.
would have sold him, he would have gone for a minimum of 75 to 80 million. He's not going for less than that. He's a really good player. And
And coming to Spurs, I have a huge like issue they are facing right now. Replacement of Harry Kane.
exactly, the attack is completely gone. You see Richarlison, he
Because
didn't score a single
because
goal last year.
you can't expect to go to a season where your striker is Richarlison.
Exactly.
I'd
And
rather not have a striker than have a striker like Richarlison.
yeah, last season, 0 goals for Richarlison.
Yeah,
And this is a big concern because if you see Harry Kane, he scores 20 goals almost every season. And
yeah,
like if you don't get those 20 goals, and it's going to be a problem because last year as well we saw Son dipping, like his form was
yeah.
dipping. He wasn't really in his best shape as well last year. So it's going to be a concern for Ange Postecoglou. But I think Tottenham have done well in the transfer market a few times. So I mean they got a hefty fee for Kane as well.
Yeah.
So maybe Levi would do something about it. But coming up to the big game, Chelsea versus Liverpool.
I
What a
want
match
your
it was!
take. I want
I
your
mean,
take
what a
first.
match. I mean, if you just see the game, it was like a day and night difference between the last year's Chelsea and this year's Chelsea. I mean, it was so fluid in attack. We almost got a goal at the very end that Mudryk won. He just overran a bit. And then Van Dijk was brilliant for Liverpool. But if you see Pochettino, he completely outclassed Klopp in the tactical battle.
You
Liverpool
know,
had
the
just
thing
one
is
shot on
like
target.
if there was any candidate more deserving to get that captain's armband, it was Van Dijk.
Yeah, Van Dijk is good. Van Dijk was really good. But if you see Liverpool again, they have got a huge concern. And the main thing I would say is that defensively, Liverpool lined up with Konate, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, and Robertson. Midfield, they
Yep,
had Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gakpo. So they tried to play a box midfield of Gakpo, Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Trent Alexander-Arnold.
yep,
When Pochettino like he viewed the formation before the game, what he did was that Mudryk was about to start the game, but he didn't start off with Mudryk. He started off with Gallagher. If you see, Gallagher played an important role that day. He completely cut off that box midfield part, and this is why I say once Caicedo comes in and Lavia as well, Chelsea are going to take off to a next level because you have seen Enzo Fernandez how good he is, his passing, his ball, and this year I have seen absolutely like no one questioning his transfer fee, 105 million.
yeah.
100 million for a bargain for him because he's so good in the like passing and all. And Reece James, I mean, if he's fit the whole season, I think Chelsea could be a title contender this year because you
Okay,
see,
so what is your take on the first goal scored by Liverpool? Because it was also like a, the best of the best passes.
the first
Started
20
with
minutes completely
McAllister.
belong to Liverpool. Okay, and,
Yeah,
and that is where I'm saying that if the like we had two DMs, Lavia and Caicedo, one would have gone up to McAllister and one would have come to Salah. We played with a back three, but it
yeah,
eventually shifted up to a back four after the 20 minutes because uh, Pochettino saw that Colville wasn't able to mark Salah all by himself.
yeah,
So what he did was that he put Colville as the left back, he put Reese as the right back, he put Disasi and Thiago Silva as the two centre backs. What he did was that Liverpool had Diaz, Jota, and Salah
yeah.
like pressing the back three. But now when it is a back four, you have Colville, Silva, who were marked by Salah
No,
and
no,
Jota respectively.
they had a numerical advantage after
Yeah,
that.
and then there were two on the right, Disasi and James. So Disasi,
Yeah,
whenever like Diaz came to press, James was going on the overlap. But now if Diaz presses James, then Enzo was completely free in the middle. So and Enzo has the capability of dribbling past two or three players. And what
yeah,
I've seen under Poch is that he hasn't played Enzo in the role he used to play in last year. Enzo used to play at a much deeper role. He used to play as a DM, number six. Enzo is not a DM. I've said that always. Enzo likes to play around the box, and this year he's like driving into the box more and
Yeah,
more under Poch. So it's giving Enzo that freedom. And once Caicedo and Lavia starts to play for Chelsea, and with like no European football, this is the player can completely focus on one competition, that is the Premier League. So it's going to be tough. I mean, we can challenge for the titles, you never know. And Poch, but it's a bit too much to ask of Poch in his very first season, though.
see, there are a couple of players who have impressed me the most from Liverpool. I would say it's Szoboszlai and McAllister because
Uh,
the dedication in the whole game
yes,
was
absolutely. And one
wonderful.
more guy who was really good was Van Dijk. I mean, he
And
dipped in his form last year, but
the
last 2 years rather, but this year
the
has been.
more like the more you say about Van Dijk, the less it feels.
Yeah, but last 3 years he wasn't really good, but this season he
Yeah,
started off really well. And then if you see Liverpool's defense in the preseason, that wasn't good. They conceded 4-2, Bayern 4-2. Like they almost conceded 4 goals in every game.
yeah.
So
But I also somehow my heart says it's not my brain, it's my heart says like Chelsea and Liverpool, they always like whatever like it's a bad season or a good season, it always is a draw.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm
So
not
I won't
Liverpool as well.
judge any of the team based on this match.
Yeah, but I want to just state of two facts. The first one is Liverpool without a DM. Since Fabinho is gone, Henderson is gone. Liverpool won't be challenging for the top four if they need to get a DM for that. They
Yeah,
went for Caicedo. Now that they had their bid rejected, they went for Lavia. They had their bid rejected. Now if they go for someone like Palhina, okay,
yeah,
Fulham could easily demand 100 million for him because they know Liverpool have the funds. Then you can bid 110 million for Caicedo. That means you have the funds. Now, if they go for Andre from Brazilian club, they
yeah,
could demand 60 million from them because everyone now knows that Liverpool has the fund available. So that's a really, really like a risky move that Liverpool did for Caicedo, and ultimately it hasn't paid off for Liverpool. And the second one, I want to say that you were saying about the draw, but if you see the whole game, Chelsea was clearly the better side. They
yeah.
deserve to
It is.
score a lot more because except the first 20 minutes, Liverpool didn't create a single chance.
Yeah,
That last one, a deflection from Ugochukwu, that shot from Nunez, that almost went, and my heart came like it stopped for a second. It was good. But now coming to the next game, Wolves versus United.
you know, this match has disappointed me the most. It's the most disappointing match
um,
because
yeah.
you know I expected something good, but this team totally disappointed me, and
Uh,
I am seriously concerned about what is gonna happen this season because you see the way uh it looked like there is zero chemistry
uh,
in the team.
yeah, I want to just say one thing to you that Rashford last season he had a purple patch, and if his purple patch is over, you have signed Hojlund who has just scored 6 or 7 goals in the Serie A. And Premier League is a whole different game, okay? The physicality, the thing that differs from the Serie A. So, do you think it's a risky move that without a top goal scorer for United to finish in the top four?
See, top four will be a very hard race this season, mainly given to the fact that Ireland is new to the Premier League atmosphere. And at
Exactly.
the end of the day, we had to take this gamble because
Uh, yes.
I would say there are not much options in the market that cheap.
One was there,
One,
Nicholas Jackson.
yeah, Nicholas Jackson, come on, our scouting isn't as good as yours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that thing matters because we need to gamble. If you don't gamble, then you need to again go and finish like third or fourth or fifth or sixth. It's gonna happen.
Okay,
And
so I just want to ask you one question. 70 million on Hojlund and 50 million on Mason Mount. 55 million on Mason Mount. That adds up to 125 million.
yeah,
Don't you think it would have been better to get 100 million Kane and 40 million Sofyan Amrabat?
I wouldn't judge any of them right now because Ireland hasn't even started for United,
And
firstly.
he won't in the next 1 month as well because he's
Yeah,
injured.
yeah. firstly, and secondly, I won't say anything big right now because Mount has been pretty good off the ball, which was very much missing in both Fred and Ericsson. It was
Mount.
really miss.
See, the problem with United was that the creativity. Bruno and Eriksen were the only creative midfielders. Now, off the ball, Mount can't do much because the only thing he can do is press and nothing more. And
And his
if you play
pressing was
against
wonderful
if
yesterday.
you play against a team like Brighton, if you play against a team like Arsenal, City, even Chelsea now, Liverpool, they can come out of press really well. They can beat the press. So Mount will be ineffective in that role. So I think United should have got someone like a James Madison who is good on the ball. United could have got someone like Amrabat who is good defensively because you need someone like who is good on the ball. Because if you see Mount, he hasn't created a single chance yet. Like just one chances in whole of the six preseason game and one game against Liverpool. Okay, so he needs to do a bit more because the strikers need balls. And last season I saw this was the problem at Chelsea. Mount, there are many flaws in his game. Firstly, he's switch up. He can't switch from the right to the left. And secondly, his set pieces. So he needs to be a bit more active, like supplying ball to the final third because you
See,
can't really expect.
the thing is, like you can't judge him so early. It's only one match in the Premier League, and don't count preseason as any important thing. Preseason is nothing other than to be straight up. Preseason is shit. Doesn't determine anything. Preseason we defeated Liverpool 4-0 and ended up getting thrashed 7-0. So it doesn't matter.
See, preseason matters when you have like see the if you play a good team in preseason, it matters when if you can judge yourself like how well you have been and like
See, it's I won't say you can judge yourself. See, like you 45 minutes the main team is playing. So what? The rest 45 minutes you play good. You can't judge yourself based on that. Or
yeah,
maybe
it judges your backup as well. It your depth. If you see, Chelsea at this moment had 22 players in the preseason, and we put two different teams in both the halves, and you can just see which team is better, like the combination play. Of course, the coach has two teams in mind. This team can play, that team can play. So it's important to like judge. And United, I would say now that the Harry Maguire deal has fallen off, like it's been like really tough. So 30 million plus the 10 million wages, it's going to be tough for United to get Sofian Amrabat, I think, because there are many clubs chasing him, and his preference, as we
see,
earlier heard, it's a Spain.
especially after the Caicedo deal confirmed and Lavia also done if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
So Liverpool will
Liverpool is
100%
going for here. Liverpool will
going for
go.
him. And Liverpool
Uh,
has loads of fun right now.
yeah, and one more team I think can go for him is City, since Kevin De
And
Bruyne
all
is injured.
see, I also think Real Madrid also might have sorts of interest.
I don't think Real Madrid would go for him because especially at this moment Camavinga doesn't want to play in the left back position and he is having his role. So like Real Madrid has Valverde, Chouameni and Camavinga in that role. So if you sign someone like a Sofian Amrabat, you need to sell one. And
Yeah.
earlier we heard Chouameni might get sold for 100 million, but who will pay 100 million at this moment with just 16 days left in the window? Okay,
You never
when it
know. You see Real Madrid Liverpool coming up with that 100 million.
but Chouameni yesterday liked post of him not joining Liverpool. I, I,
You
I
never
don't
know, bro.
I don't think
Modric twerked to network for joining to Arsenal.
twerking and like coming up and like getting when Chelsea knock it's a different knock. I would say it right. You see players like the 19-20 year olds, they have seen Chelsea win trophies. In the last 10 years, Chelsea is the most successful English club. We have got PL, we have got CWC, we have got UEL, we have got UCL, we have got FA Cup and everything. Okay. So now the next generation of players will have a like a feeling towards Chelsea because they have seen Chelsea win trophies. It's not the 2010s or 20s that players will be like born in 1990s, 2000 when Chelsea used to be shit. So it's a different thing. But coming on to the Amrabat point, you see, there might be Barcelona, there might be Atletico Madrid, there might be Liverpool, there might be many teams could be interested in him, and especially with the Harry Maguire deal not going through, and United last time getting a fine from the FFP as well.
Yeah.
I think the Glazers will be really like cautious about the deal. So, is there any update on Sheikh Jassim?
I'm so frustrated. I have stopped looking at into it.
I haven't heard any news for the past 1 month.
I stopped looking at any news for the past 1 month.
I don't think personally Glazers will sell the club because at the end of the day, see, United is the most valuable team in the Premier League, and it generates a ton lot of revenue. So a businessman, like if you think from a business point of view, I don't think that they would sell. They don't care what the fans think of them. At the end of the day, to a businessman, it all matters is money. Okay. So that's it. Same for Liverpool. If you see, they have been also protesting against the FSG out and all and all. But do they sell? No, because they know that it's a bit like it's revenue at the end of the day for them.
Yeah.
So Swap, I would just ask you the top 8 of the table before we end the video, according to
See,
you.
from the first of the season, I kept on saying that City might win the league, but I have a doubt right now,
Yeah,
a
especially after
huge doubt.
KDB injury.
So it might look surprising, but I would keep Newcastle at the top.
Okay.
Second, City.
Yeah.
Third, I would keep Chelsea.
Yeah.
Fourth, Liverpool. Fifth, if I'm not wrong, it will be Arsenal. Sixth, Brighton. Seven, Tottenham, and eight, United.
See, I'll go with City winning the league, of course, because somehow they win. I'll keep Chelsea second because we have signed a really, really good amount of players, as well as we have no European football next year, so we might challenge for the title as well. You never know. Third, I would go Arsenal because they are like one of the best at this moment if you see on paper, and they are bound to finish in the top four. Fourth, I'd keep United. Fifth, I'd keep Newcastle because see the problem with Newcastle is that they haven't got that big team elite mentality. Okay,
Yep.
winning mentality. Eddie Howe he hasn't really won trophies, and Newcastle as well in the last 68 years they haven't won 67, 68 years they haven't won a single trophy. So winning mentality is not there. So I think that this year it might be top five UCL, still not confirmed. The coefficients will come out in a few uh, weeks time, so we will get to know. Sixth, I would keep. I think it will be Spurs. Sixth, seventh, I think Brighton, and eight will be Villa. Brighton and Villa, I mean, they would compete for the Conference League spot because Unai Emery is there on one side, and there is the Brighton scouting department on the other side. So yeah, but I think Tottenham would really be there because they have got James Madison is creative and the defense looks stable. I would say Romero and
Yeah,
Pedro
but
Porro and
the thing is, like, they need to sign a good number 9 right now.
yeah, I mean they would sign and I think that they would because especially after you sell Kane, you would sign a number 9 because they also know that Richarlison is not the man for the job. I think we might get slandered after the season if Richarlison ends up winning the Golden Boot.
Yeah, definitely. But
You
that's
never
that
know.
will
It's
be good.
football, right?
That'll be good, right? At least our videos had made a shit player good. Impacts.
Yeah, exactly. Impact. So I guess that was it. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel and share the video with your mates. And thanks for watching.